Welcome to the Good News Mama podcast, a place to get in touch with other mamas, share the load, and know the Lord. Here we aim to lift each other up in the good news of Jesus and the laughter that comes with motherhood. We are a community of mamas just trying to keep the main thing the main thing. I'm your host, Lynn Carter, and each time you tune in, I pray you are encouraged and that you leave challenged and breathe a sigh of relief that you are understood. We were not meant to do life alone, Mama. Thanks for joining in. Let's do this and let's share the good news. Hey, Good News Mama. I'm so excited you're here. I actually recorded this conversation with Rachel Van Kluyve back in early May when the coronavirus was in full force and we were really unsettled with being stuck at home and trying to manage all of life and going crazy inside of our house. And we just had a great talk. She's a mother of 2, almost 3. She's getting ready to adopt a little baby girl, so be in prayer for them about that. She shares how she got started with her business, Crate and Cottage. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. It is beautiful. And she gives amazing tips that I definitely needed because, I have no clue what I'm doing in my house. We dive into the exciting launch of her new book, She Made Herself a Home. And then midway through our talk, you'll hear an exciting announcement that I have. No, it's not a baby. Full disclosure, but you'll love it. Trust me. Let's dive into a great conversation with this soon-to-be mama of 3, Rachel Van Kluyve. So welcome to the podcast, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes. So, I was looking at your Instagram and your website. Oh, they're so beautiful. I just love everything that you put out. And I was super excited to get you on the podcast because I'm actually building a home right now. And holy cow, nobody
told
you
a lot.
Oh my gosh, like the builder's great, right? And everything has been going smoothly, but I didn't know I needed to hire an interior design consultant. Like I definitely have been Pinteresting everything. It's been a whirlwind, right?
Right, it is.
Especially with all that's going on. It is. There's too many choices. You get so overwhelmed. I mean, you don't want to regret something that you do. So you are like,
you will though.
Yeah, I've come to terms with that.
It's inevitable.
There's just
you can change it later.
And that's it. You just pick something, move on. Pick something, move on. There's too many choices. But I told my mom, I said, I think that I should have taken a course before I started building my own home or something. Or maybe I can write one now that says how to build a custom home while having 3 kids under 5, working outside the home, starting a podcast during a pandemic, something crazy.
You sound like me. My mom's like, you do too much.
Girl. It is, but it's just exciting and fun. So I'm blessed to be able to do all of it for sure.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I had so many things I wanted to talk to you about, and then the pandemic hit, and it kind of threw life for a spin. So, how are you surviving?
We're pretty used to it. I mean, we're homeschool, so we're always home anyway. And so it's just kind of now getting like, okay.
Because you can't go anywhere if you wanted to. Right. Exactly.
Right. It's just like, I don't know. I'm kind of over it at this point.
I hear you, girl. I think we all are. Well, why don't you start by telling us who you are and your background and just a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So I am Rachel Van Kluyve, born and raised Nashvilleian, which is odd. My husband, too, we both met at church when I was 14 and he was 17, and we dated for 6 years. Long story short, we grew up together, and then we got married in 2006. And then we got to build our first home because my parents actually invested in a lot behind their house, thinking they would just keep the yard, bigger. Little did they know I would ask to build a home there. And so we started I was 21. We built that house quickly. We just picked something. We didn't know what we were doing, but it was fine. And we lived there for 10 years. I had my firstborn in that house and my secondborn. But after the first, I got a lot of postpartum and depression and anxiety, and I couldn't find my footing, and it took about 2 years. But so I decided to do something for myself, and that was create a little Instagram account called Crate and Cottage. And I did that because my mom and I had an antique booth, and we displayed our items on crates. And so I took the name after my firstborn. We couldn't do the booth anymore. It was too hard. And so I thought I'll just create this on the side as a secret, kind of share when I want to, not with family and friends, because
Uh-huh.
they're the ones that critique you. And so I thought, if I get to 500 followers, I will share it with the world. And so slowly by surely, it gave me a job, other than being a mom. I got up and I got to like create a scene and show my
Yeah.
DIYs that I was working on. And at that point, we were starting to change things in the house because we didn't like what we had done the first time.
Yeah.
And so it slowly started growing that way. And then, so we lived in that house about 5 more years. I had my second born, which we didn't think would happen because I didn't know I
Yeah.
wanted anymore. But he's a
Yeah.
joy and a light. So that was a blessing. But then we decided to pursue finding land for our dream house. And we found it, and then we started building. I took people along for the journey, and it just kind of escalated. And here I am. It was never
Yeah.
planned to be a job. It was more just an outlet for me and a journal, kind of to keep track of my
Right.
building process. And I just kind of dove in and was consistent with it and found a good community and
Yes.
all
That's
this here.
beautiful.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
stemmed
girl.
from
You're so talented.
needing some creative outlets.
Yes, definitely. I can understand that. That's what this podcast is for me
Right.
because I have no other creative outlet right now. And if anything, it's just nice to be able to connect with other mamas and just be
Yes.
encouraged. So, yes, but your website is beautiful. I just enjoyed learning about your book. Congratulations, by the
Thank
way, your
you.
just launched book. I'm so excited for you. She made herself a home. That was like March, right? It just happened.
Yeah, it just came out right when the pandemic.
I know, girl. I
Well,
saw your account where you had your husband and you posted a live where y'all went to Target and you had your mask and
oh
you were
yeah.
looking around. That was so amazing. My heart broke for you because I know that's not what you envisioned when you spend hours upon hours of
Oh yeah.
writing a book, right?
Yeah, years actually. Because
Oh my gosh.
the process of writing a book is unique. You get your idea and you have to pitch it, and then a sales team, and then you get a yes or no, and then you start your creative process, and it's just then it has to go to print, and it takes forever to make, and it's just like a year and a half, 2 year thing, and then the week of my book party, like our big
Yeah.
party and all that, we had to make the call, like, is this going to get worse with corona or is it not? Should we cancel it? And so we did. And it's been interesting to launch a book in a pandemic, but I think the silver lining is people have more time to read, more time to
Yes.
sit around and look at what they can buy, unfortunately. But fortunately for me, they've
Yeah.
supported me with purchasing my book. So
There you go. I've seen so many memes where people have said, please somebody remind me, I do not need anything off Amazon again
yeah,
today.
ever.
I'm wearing it out big time. So tell me about your book, She Made Herself a Home. I want to hear about it and kind of the journey, the process you
Yeah.
went through to put it together.
So originally the book was written, going to be written as a farmhouse book because that's what I owned, and it was kind of getting big then. And Joanna Gaines made us all want a farmhouse.
Mhm.
So I was on board with that, but then my heart started changing. I started Instagram. My why was to, encourage other women who aren't designers and aren't schooled in certain things to use creativity like I did even in my dark time. I figured it out and used it. And so that's my why. And so I started thinking about the book and how I could pull that into a book. And then it hit me that I should use other women in the book, and it shouldn't just be my home and my
Mhm.
style, because people need to be taught how to find their own. So I approached, the editors about incorporating 40 other women inside the book. So it has 40 women from Instagram that aren't designers, that are moms and grandmothers and single gals, and just they fill the whole spectrum of women, and
Yeah.
their styles are in the book. They share their tips. So all the pictures are their homes and mine. They're not from a magazine or, clipped art photos. They're real women that have worked hard to create a home, and they teach you their tips and where they shop and how we pull together rooms. And it was hard for
That's
me to
awesome.
write a book about decor because I'm not a tangible person. I have so much more in my heart to share. And so to relate my heart to decor, it
Mhm.
was really hard to find that balance for a while. And now it's more about intention for me. How do you want people to feel when they come in your home? What
Yes.
legacy do you want to leave to your children? Because they'll take your traditions on into theirs and that kind of thing. Intention was what I based the book around. And then once you know your intention, how do you decorate? So that's kind of what the book teaches. And I'm frugal, even if I have the money to spend, I won't. I like to repurpose things and
Yes.
go to TJ Maxx. And so
Yes.
I think people can relate to that kind of a book,
Yes.
a budget. So
Absolutely.
That's why I wrote the book, to incorporate women, to teach you how to find intention and to do it frugally.
That sounds amazing. And right now we need that more than ever because some people aren't having an income, and the place that we love, which is supposed to be our sanctuary, has become chaotic. And it just, for people that aren't used to being home all the time, the places that they would normally go for a retreat have turned kind of into just turmoil, basically, and not sure what to do and things like that. Do you have any tips for being able to take a space that you're used to being in, but you're not happy with, and kind of, especially right now, just if you walked into a room and you just wanted it to feel light, what would you first look at, or what would you first go to just to try to change it up? Because I know for me right now, I could use any advice you have to give, right?
Well,
whatever you can think of.
Well, first I would say, I would ask you, what do you not like about the space? What bothers you about it? A lot of times I feel like it's just clutter. I did this in my own house. My poor husband, I revamped the whole house because the farmhouse was starting to get to me.
Yeah.
The clutter, a lot of stuff, the florals, it was eating away at me. And I was like, I have to minimalize. So I myself am I'm keeping my big antique pieces, but I'm trying to bring in more of a modern feel because I just couldn't stand the clutter. So I would first ask, what do you not like about the space? What do you use this space for? I think a lot of people forget, we're a big sports family. So I'm not personally, but if you were, do you need a lot of seating in your living room? Do you use this space for family gatherings? Or do you just, what is your intention behind the space? Then what do you not like about it? Then what do you have to keep? And what can you get rid of? So that's kind of my thought process. I think you have to evaluate before you dive in. And then I would say declutter. Sometimes you have to take everything out of a room and then put it back in. It's a lot of work, but it gives you a fresh palette, and you can kind of, things look different. Like I switched something from upstairs to downstairs and I was like, that looks brand new, but I've had it. It's just a mindset, changing things around, using what you have, especially right now when you can't go shopping for things. But I think it's about decluttering, having a clean space. And then my big thing is having a home for everything. My kids know where their things go, so they're more likely to put them away. And
fingers crossed, right?
Yeah. At least I know where to put them away. But I think if things have a home, they're less likely to sit and create clutter, which creates anxiety for me anyway. And especially right now when it's always in your face, it's important to find a home for your items and mostly declutter, get rid of.
Hey, Mama. While Rachel is talking about our homes, I wanted to jump in and talk about our hearts for a minute. I know that you've been on this journey with me. If you're new here, welcome, but I just wanted to say thank you. In the past 3.5 months of being the Good News Mama podcast, I've had over 2,000 downloads. It's been a year ago this month when God gave me the vision for this podcast, and it was a walk of faith for sure. I definitely had no clue what I was doing, and I'm learning so much in this process, but I wanted to share with you another burden He's put on my heart. When I started the podcast, I knew that mamas needed community. They needed to hear something that would resonate with them in this season of motherhood that is crazy. So, would you do something for me? Would you be willing to walk in obedience as well and learn about how to create your own version of motherhood? Most importantly, I'd love for you to be a part of the community of faith-filled mamas that can walk alongside you as you discover this version of motherhood for yourself. There's details to come in the next 2 weeks, but the Good News Mama movement is on the horizon, and I wanted you to know about it. Just go to goodnewsmama.com, click the Messenger tab, and sign up to be the first to learn about the details. Now let's jump back into this awesome conversation with my girl, Rachel. And it's so hard to pick, like you said, if you take everything out, it makes it so much easier because for me, when I look at a space, it's hard to see it gone and
Right.
know if I should have taken it out. But if I just take out everything and don't feel married to anything in the room and then go back adding
Yeah, and
pieces.
you'll find you won't want to add back as many things as what
Right.
usually happens.
Right.
So,
So that makes complete sense because there's obviously going to be more clutter now because we're all in our houses more often
right.
than ever before. Usually I would try to filter things out like that's not even coming in the house, guys. Like don't even don't
Yeah.
even bring it in here. Whatever rock or stick or treasure
Dog.
you found, leave it on the porch. Like we are not even going there. But there are certain fun things that they like to do. We'll like feature stuff on the fridge or whatever, just,
Right.
to let them feel proud and we are proud of what they do, but sometimes I'm like that fridge just needs a wipe down. We just got to start it over. Like even the
Yep.
treasures that we've accumulated, like clear the mind, clear the space.
There's a great app
So
for that. It's called
oh
Archive.
really?
It's called Archive,
Oh my
and
god.
it allows you to take photos of all your kids' art, and it stores it for you, and then you can throw it away. And then at the
Oh,
end, and it categorizes it by grade, age group, and you can have as many kids as you have within the app. And then at the very end, you can print the book. So instead
oh
of
my
storing
god.
bins of things
That
you
you'll never look at,
want to
right? But you
keep.
could flip through your book.
Yep.
Yes, girl. Yes, thank
And so
you.
when my kids are like, "You're throwing it away," I'm like, "I already took a picture of it. It's
Going in
going to
the
be
book.
going in the book."
And does that help eliminate some of
Oh,
their
yeah.
frustration because
Oh,
they know
yeah.
you'll have it forever?
And then I can
Yeah.
show them, like, "See, look, here it is. I took a picture of it." Certain
Mm-hmm.
things I say, but not all that's
Right.
everything they do. I can't.
Yes, and you can't showcase all that anyway, so it ends up in that box in the
Yep.
attic or something,
Yep.
so it's not really bringing joy to anybody,
No.
but no, I totally get that. Um, so talk to me a little bit about how your kids have done with the whole you said they're homeschooled, so they're used to being home. So do they in their ages, is it 5th grade?
I have
Your
a
one of
10-year
son is
old and a 5-year old almost. He's almost
yeah.
5.
So have they been asking you questions about anything going on, or did they pay attention?
Um, yeah, now they're finally like, why can't we see our friends? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Even my 4-year old's like, I miss my friends. I'm like, I know.
Oh,
But he
yeah.
understands there's a virus and that we don't want to get sick. And I just try to assure him it's not going to be forever. Our
Yeah.
country's been through this before, and
Yeah.
we just have to do what we can to keep. Luckily, we have technology and they can see their friends and family, and
I know.
that would be so hard if we couldn't. But they're doing
Girl.
okay. Like I
Yeah.
said, we homeschool, so they're used to home. I mean, we're not getting to do karate. That's all switching to Zoom, and they have different Zoom
Yeah.
classes. But we're just adapting the best we can. Trying.
Yes.
Luckily, we can go outside and play.
I know. See, my boys, I don't think they really understand fully, but I've I've heard my 5-year-old talk back to me in the language I've used to him, and I'm like, okay, I guess that sounds okay. But most of the time, they'll ask like, "What? Why can't we go see True True, which is their grandma, or why can't we go play with our friends?" Well, because there's a sickness going around. We don't want to get sick. So that's basically what he'll
Right.
say. When the sickness is over, can we? I'm like, yeah,
Yep.
buddy. When the sickness is over, we can do that because you don't want to instill any fear in them,
Right.
right? And you want to so I just wondered if your kids, if you had picked up on anything from them that was like fear related with it, or they're just accepting of it, and mostly it's in the mama's mind about just keeping our kids safe
Yeah.
with
Luckily,
that.
my oldest is really intuitive. So he's more like, can we just get this over with, mom? And it's hard because some of our friends aren't as stressed about it. I tend to be more anxious with sickness, and they're not wearing masks, and they have one couple that they still see all the time. So my son's seeing his friends be with his friends. And it's
Yes.
hard to say, well, this is our choice as a
Yes.
family. That's their
Right.
choice as their family, and
Right.
um, it's just different choices, and this is what we're doing, and he's
Mhm.
okay. I think we're just all kind of ready
Yes.
ready to move on.
Same girl. And it's hard too for, even like you said, within families, like certain, like my sister, she has a job that she doesn't have to interact with anybody. She can work from home the whole time. So they're really secluded. And so she was able to see my parents
Mm.
and feel confident in that. And they didn't have to travel. Like when they traveled, they didn't have to stop anywhere along the way or whatever. So it was, and my parents are, are retired or working from home, but I work outside the home. So I'm coming in contact with people. I'm fully geared up when I'm seeing it. So I don't feel like I can see them, but if my boys see their cousins at grandma's, stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah,
They're like,
it's hard to
what?
navigate.
It is. But, it's just like you said, it's got to be personal choice and it's got to be like within your comfort zone too.
Right.
And I feel like our faith plays into that big
Yeah.
time too. And do you guys talk about it in relation to your faith or anything like that?
I just make sure they know, like, Lord's in control. He knew this was coming. He knows how it's going to end. I really focus on, like, there's going to be so much good from this. People are outside more. We even go through, like, the pollution's down, all the things
Yeah.
that are, I try to always give them a silver lining of something. And they just
Yeah.
don't seem too concerned. That's the beauty of being a kid right
I
now.
know. And that says you're doing a good job as a mom, right? If you're
Yeah.
able to, just let them be kids and let them do it. That's why when I was trying to figure out how to tell them that there's a reason why we can't do these things, but not scare them or make them worried about it. Like right now, my oldest, he's 5. So he is in this big like scared of everything
Yeah.
moment, like not wanting to go down the hallway to the bedroom because the lights off in the bedroom and that sort of thing. Even yesterday he went to do something I asked him to do and he ran and it was broad daylight. He ran as fast as he could down there and came back. It's like, Mom, did you see that? I went down there into that room and it was dark. I was like, buddy, you did a great job. I saw, just those little things. So that they've got stuff going on in their mind and it's just so hard to know what a kid is doing in their head, but
Right.
they're kids. They're just, if they're living their best life, if you're there and they're
Right.
just,
All they're going to remember is, hey, it's what we teach them. And they'll be like, Mom and Dad were home and we got to be home all this time. And that's pretty much all they'll remember.
exactly, exactly. I was just thinking about just the influence that you have on so many people and your faith and things like that. You started out in your background as journalism and
English. Yeah.
writing. Yeah. And then you're in real estate now. You do designing for a living too. And
Well, my
you do
husband,
so many things.
my husband, we started a real estate brokerage. Like, it was risky and we didn't know if we should do it. And he was with a big brokerage, but he hated losing the money that they take from people. And so he started his own. And I don't have my actual license, but I was like the admin and did all the paperwork and all the things for a long time. Now he has, thankfully, someone that does that. But so on the side, we build spec homes and design them and stage them if we have to and that kind of a thing. So I didn't know that this job of mine on Instagram and design would play into his real estate, but it just kind of, the Lord worked it out to mesh together. Yeah. So it's fun to both be in the same realm. Yeah.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Do you find that it's easier for you to create when it's not yours, or does it just come
Oh yeah.
naturally to you?
We actually just finished our first Airbnb cabin about an hour and a half from here. And so I was able to be like, oh, I can do something totally different, and I went way modern there, way more modern than I ever have. And I think that's what made me see how nice simplifying things were. And so I did it in my home, but it's fun to be able to do different things in different homes and appreciate all aspects of it.
Do you think it's because you know that you can be riskier and not have to deal with, I mean, like that's what it comes down
and
to,
it's
right?
not in your face every day.
Right. So, like when my husband and I moved into the house we're in now, which we bought as a foreclosure, and we definitely needed to because we were in a 2-bedroom, 1 bath before. And like I'm picking paint colors for the walls and stuff, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like looking at the Sherwin-Williams palettes, right? Because I don't want to pick like something random here and something random there. Well, I'm so happy I went with the one that I did, but at the time it was like convincing my husband, convincing myself that this is going to be good. Just try this, and then remembering, come on, Lynn, it's paint. Like you can change paint, right?
I think a lot of people forget that. Like, it's just paint. You can go over it again if you don't like it.
Right. But then like when you're in the process of picking out things that aren't so changeable, like trim around windows. And I was going to pick your brain about like even like in our house right now, my husband jokes because I wanted so many windows in it and the big picture windows with the side ones that can open up, and it's an open concept and everything in the living room kitchen area. And he's like, "You might as well just have a glass house. We got so many windows in here, you can see right through the whole thing."
You won't regret that at all.
Well, and that's it. Like the house we have now has like two windows in the main living area, and it just feels more cave like. And I just wanted it to be bright and sunny. He's like, "Well, you're going to get bright and sunny." And now I'm looking at those things thinking, I'm going to have to cover those up sometime. Like the curtain options and the window treatments and
I
stuff
tell
like
you,
that.
IKEA is the best place for curtains.
Yes. Okay, then that's where I'm going to go.
Most
That's what I need to
affordable. They
keep.
come in so many different lengths. I have them all in
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes. Well, and I'm gonna need them everywhere. And when I was thinking about how I wanted the house to look, I didn't think about budgeting that aspect in necessarily,
Right.
right? All the things after that you've already built. So anyway, it's a fun process, but that's definitely outside of my realm. So once we get in there, that's a whole nother thing that I've got going on in my head.
Just gonna do one thing at a time.
Yes. So I guess in that concept of designing what you want your home to look like and what you want it to feel like. You gave the tip about clearing everything out and then just adding pieces back to what you've got. Do you find that in the rooms that you have, you concentrate on the focal point of that room or just the feel of that room in general, like how all the pieces fit together? Or I don't know, I think I'm just basically asking for advice when I'm going to do this. We have like gray walls, we have white trim, and so I feel like that gives me a lot of options for different pops of color and
Oh
different
yeah.
things. But
That's the best thing you could do. Personally, is start with neutral and then add in the color that you like. I think it
yeah,
also depends on, you have three little boys. What kind of couch do you want to have? Like we have velvet,
um,
so it wipes, and I've never had a problem. I can
yes,
wipe all the stuff off, but I think it depends on, again, the intention, like, of the room, who's using it, what do I need to accommodate, who do I need to accommodate, and do I need toy storage? Do I need, just ask yourself what is going in the room and what best
yes.
fits your needs first.
Yeah, that's a great thing for me to do. Like I'll have to write down and just go one by one through the list because
Yeah, one
if I
room at
try
a
to
time.
like and if I try to think, well, I'm gonna get stuff for this, and this room, and then nothing's done, right? You've got like, I feel like that's how we do in our lives most of the
Right.
time too. Like we just like pick and choose different things. We don't finish something. I'm the worst for that. Like if I have a goal or something that I want to get done, I will like think of all these different things that I have to do, and I won't just hone in on that one thing, finish that one thing, just be targeted like that. So,
But
oh,
yeah, try in the house, like, you need a bed and you need a dresser. You need a
yeah,
couch and you need,
start basic.
yeah, just start real basic and then add in
Right.
the fun stuff later. You don't have to
Yeah.
fill every wall space. I kind of got into that. Should I fill every wall with something? And then now I'm like taking everything off the walls. So
Yeah.
start simple.
That's well, and I'm definitely gonna start simple because it's cost a lot of money to
Oh yeah.
figure out how you're gonna do stuff, and
And you need to
I
live
just
in a space too for a while to kind of see what you need and what you.
thank you for that. I just feel like you gave me permission. It's okay that I don't have everything figured out
Oh
because we're
yeah.
gonna get there and I'll be like, what? Where do I go from here?
Yep.
Where like
Then
just
you'll be like,
figuring
oh
out
wait, I do need something like that in this space.
yes, definitely. Um, did you have anything that you wanted to share that maybe you've discovered about yourself during this time, whether it pertains to your business or just modifications that you've had to make, just like you said, shifting spaces, shifting mindsets? Any wisdom you could give us?
Yeah, I think what my why really is to always tell women, like, there is something you were born and created to do. For some women it's motherhood and they feel complete in that, but not to feel guilty or ashamed that you feel you need more, because that's was me for 2 years. I battled with, why the heck do I not feel fulfilled in this? It's all I ever wanted since I was a little girl, was to be a mother. And then when it happened, I was like, this is not it. And I think
Right.
it's so important, you hear people say to take time for yourself. And as mothers, we just don't do that. Even as women without children, I don't think we prioritize ourselves enough, because
Right.
we're constantly worried if we are enough. And so
Yes.
I think it's just so important to, I always say, go back to like your little girl heart and your desires and what you feel like you're good at. And if you don't know, because I get a lot of that, I don't know what I'm good at. Well, you have to take time to get to know yourself. And we just
Right.
don't do that. Like there are
No.
so many. My mom is 71 and she wouldn't mind me saying she just started acrylic painting,
Wow.
oil painting, and she is wonderful at it and just
Yeah.
is obsessed with it. And I thought, if you're not open to like trying and searching your heart for things, you don't know what you're missing at any age. So that's really
Right.
my wisdom is I took the time to jump into a creative desire that maybe I wouldn't have and I would still be struggling with, 10 years later.
And obviously you're gifted at it. It wasn't even the
Thank you.
background that you had, right? You
No,
just, yeah,
wasn't
you just,
something I planned on whatsoever, but that's the beauty of what the Lord can do is take something you weren't
yeah,
planning on and changing it into something beautiful. So that would be my advice is to get to know your heart and what you're passionate about and use it
yeah,
because that's what we're created to use our passions for good. So
absolutely. And not to be scared to take that time because I feel like we just don't. We don't plan it into our day. I know I don't. Like,
yeah, or we feel
I'm,
guilty about it.
yes, absolutely. Like, this is so funny you said that because just last night, so I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's a huge blessing to be able to have Mondays and Fridays off with the boys. I absolutely love it. We have a great time, just me and them. But by the time my husband gets home, I'm like
Your
tapping
turn.
out. I'm so glad
Yep.
you're here. I need 5 minutes. Like I'll go back to the bedroom and the boys will be chasing right after me. I'm like, nope, go to daddy. Mommy's off the clock. Like
Mm-hmm.
give me give me 5 minutes to just breathe and think. And it's done so much for me to be able to do that. And at first there's this little twinge of guilt, like
Yeah, like, oh, why do I need to sit here?
pushing them away.
It's
Yes.
5 minutes.
I know, right? Like,
I do the
heaven
same
forbid.
thing. I go to the grocery and I'm rushing. And I'm like, why am I rushing? They're fine. But what if they might
Right.
need me and I need to hurry? I'm like, no, I need to slow down and enjoy the quiet.
Exactly. And get your mind back so that you don't
Right.
bite their heads off later. Cause I find that's what's happening more and more that
Lose your
I don't know.
patience easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Lose your patience when you don't take that time and you're not the person that you want to be
Right.
when you don't give yourself that time. So it's just realizing it's okay to
It's
have a little
okay.
grace for yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
because
And
you'll
then
be the better mom when you do.
exactly. And maybe even, like what you talked about going into something that you love that you didn't even intend for it to turn into what it did. Like that's just telling us all to give ourselves permission to dream a little bit and just
Yes,
try something. You don't
especially.
have to be successful at it, right? You can just try. Like that's awesome that your mom found a new skill and a new passion
Mm-hmm.
and didn't let it hold her back that she didn't have experience in it, but just wanted to do it. And now she's obviously
No,
being
because
fulfilled in
for
it. Enjoy.
3 years, she said, I just want to paint. And I'm like, if you say that one more time again and don't do it. So finally, my dad and I prepaid for her to have art classes locally.
Yes.
And she had
Nice.
no choice but to get up and go. And it changed her world. So
Yes.
sometimes you
So
have to
get a
be
friend.
pushed.
That's right. And get a friend in your life that will push you in that
Right.
direction and say, just do it. What are you waiting for? Who
Right.
cares what everybody else thinks? And just go for it.
Right.
Right. So I know for me, like I last summer felt the call and the push to just share, like what you said, you have you know what you're good at, but that doesn't define you, right? Like you're good at interior design, but that's not who you are as a
Right.
person. Like who you are is who God's created you to be and sharing that light with other people through the gifts he's given you to do. And it's evident. Like you just when you walk in that, so many people are blessed, right? And you just have to let yourself do what God's called you to do. And so last summer when I was thinking about wanting to share, wanting to reach out to other mamas, not really knowing how to do it, feeling like if another mom besides myself and my friend, which I knew we both felt inadequate and unqualified at times as mothers to young children. If we felt that way, there has to be other moms that could use some encouragement. I'm a talker. So writing was just not going to work for me. I knew that. And I didn't even really know about podcasting very much at that point, but just giving myself permission to give it a try and just
Mm-hmm.
see where it's gone. Like if nobody has gotten anything out of this podcast, I have loved meeting people like you and
Oh,
learning so
yeah.
much
And
and
your
just hearing,
boys have a record
oh
of
my
their
gosh,
mom to have for their life.
I didn't even think about it that way. But
Yeah.
yes, I mean, just things that you don't, that's a great perspective. Like you don't know what kind of legacy you're leaving behind just
Mm-hmm.
by doing what God's put in you to do.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
that's an
awesome.
awesome testimony. Yes. Well, tell me if there's anything that I can pray for you and your family about. Is there something going on? I usually like to pray for people as we close out.
Sure.
Um,
We're actually our home study, we're adopting a girl, and our home study is next week, like the final piece. So it's
yes.
Monday and Tuesday, it's your in-home meetings, and then we finished our profile book and it's going out, we're domestically adopting. So I'm just praying
Yes.
for the process, and the boys are
Girl, you should have
excited.
told me
And
that before because we could have done a whole nother podcast episode
well,
on that
you can
one.
have me
Goodness.
back when I've walked through that journey.
I know I need to because actually recently we got on a Zoom call with about 7 or 8 girlfriends of mine, and one of them is looking into adoption. And I was like, man, I do need to talk to somebody about that. And I've had
Yeah.
a mom that's talked to me about fostering before and things like that. So yes, please come back
Oh
and
yeah,
share
I would
that
love
journey
to.
too. So you're in the stressful part, like the finishing up rounds of it, sort of,
Yeah, and
but
we started internationally, and then after taking the classes, I just felt called like I need a newborn, and things
yeah,
just shifted, and lo and behold, so many babies here, and it just
yes,
completely changed, and now we're gonna have a baby. So we haven't made
yes,
the official announcement, but
yeah,
close. So
girl,
praying to be
that
matched to the right person that God wants us to be with. So
right. Absolutely. There is just, I think about that in the Bible where it talks about all the time praying for orphans and widows and just
mhm.
having a heart for God's people. And, being called to do something like that is a huge gift. That's so amazing that you can walk in that and trust God to bring you to the right one and be the right mama
Right.
for that girl. And
Thank you. We're excited.
congratulations.
We are excited.
Girl,
I
yeah.
need some pink in this house. I know you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that because when I talked to my husband, like, "Don't you think we should try for one more? Just try for a girl." He's like, "No,
It'll
we're
be a
done. We're
boy.
good." Right? It's like, so maybe if God would lead us in that direction, maybe we'll have a girl one day. I don't
Yeah.
know, but right now he's like, I'm tapping out. I'm
Yeah.
maxed. Like, he's giving me the
Especially
sign.
during coronavirus.
Oh gosh, yeah, not a good time to talk about that. But
Yeah.
that is so fun. I am so proud of you and
Thank
excited
you.
for you just to be walking in that because that is a scary journey to go
Yeah.
down to because there's so many things that you have to jump through, hoops you have to do, and
Yeah.
what a blessing you're gonna get on the other
Thank
side of
you.
that.
We're
Girl.
excited. Hopefully
Yes.
by
Oh,
Christmas we'll have a baby girl.
yes. Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I would love to pray for you for that and just for your home and your business and your kids and health and
Yeah.
all the things that God would bless. All right, let's
Thank
pray
you.
together. God, thank you so much for my friend Rachel. Thank you for the fun time we've been able to have catching up and just learning more about you and about what you've called us to do in this life. And Lord, I just really just come before you right now with her and ask for a divine direction in this adoption process. Lord, you've been walking through this with them. You've given them the passion and the desire to do that. And I thank you for them answering that call. And I just ask that the woman that's had the baby, that's uncertain about where her baby's going to go, Lord, I just pray that that baby will be placed right in Rachel's home, Lord. I pray that in her loving arms, the right baby girl, the one that needs you, the one that you've designed for that baby to grow up in Rachel's and her husband's family and being led in ways of the Lord and a relationship with you. I just pray for that right now and just all the fun things and the good things that are to come. I just ask that you would just flood their heart and their emotions with those things, Lord, and help them to focus on you and just know that you've got it all figured out, all the crazy steps, all the things they've had to go through. Lord, you've known it from the beginning and you've been right there with them. And so I just ask for just peace in this time and guidance and wisdom. And I pray for her children as they accept a new baby sister in their lives and just the fun and excitement that will be. Lord, just be with them through all this process, be with them through the crazy times of this pandemic. And I just thank you for their health and thank you for their community and their family that they have around them. And I just pray you continue to bless them with your favor, God. You want to give us good things and you want us to be a light for you and to redirect that blessing back to you. And I just thank you for the willing heart that Rachel is and for this time we've had together. And I just pray favor on her and her family this year. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that. I needed that.
Yes, girl. Yes, I'm so glad that we could do this.
Thank you for encouraging me
Oh,
today.
yes, I'm so glad that you take the time to do this. I'm super excited for you guys and can't
Thank
wait to
you.
see what happens. Oh, where can we find you on social media and all the things? Your website, your handles?
Oh yeah. I'm at Creighton Cottage everywhere. So CreightonCottage.com and Creighton Cottage on Instagram and Creighton Cottage on Facebook. But I mostly hang out on Instagram.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful Instagram feed. Go, guys, look at her Instagram feed. Check out what Rachel's doing. I'm so happy. Thank you, girl.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Good News Mama. If you did, please leave me a review on iTunes. A 5-star review is best, and hit subscribe. Share with your friends on Instagram and Facebook. Please email me at lynn@goodnewsmama.com. You know I love questions. I love feedback. I want to know what you want to know. We're going to talk about what means something to you. So let's hear it. Follow me on Instagram at Good News Mamas. That's mamas with an S. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Keep your head up, keep your heart humble, and share that good news.